Good.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
The major issues of decentralized exchanges are costs, and they are not as user friendly as some of the centralized exchanges, like Coinbase. Even your grandma could probably use Coinbase after registration. The registration may be tricky.
Yeah. No, I hope that we will be able to build something better on Cardano, just
Oh, yeah.
because we can maybe.
Did you two just made a block?
Cool.
I know. It's exciting, isn't it?
Oh my God, dude. I just saw it pop up on my phone. I have muted.
I know. I saw you looking at your phone. I was
It just
like,
went
wait,
bam,
he's
bam,
got
and
the alert.
Oh my gosh.
Who do you think is going to make the first decentralized block?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. What should we look at, Mike?
Well, the recent block line. Yeah, we
Yeah,
can go there.
I have it
Yeah.
open right now.
Cool tool.
We have an anonymous person attending. I don't know who is here. Who's here? We'll find out. Yeah, Mike.
080495546.
Yep. Yeah, it has a unique number ID on there.
Yeah,
So should we look on Pull
that's
Tool?
why I didn't let him in. I didn't know who he was, and he had the camera turned off.
Yeah, I did not. Oh, they.
Kyle. Kyle. How you
Kyle's in
doing,
his
buddy?
outfit.
Where is Frog? Froggy, where are you?
He's connecting.
He looks very serious.
I see him now.
We can
I
see
feel,
you, Kyle.
I feel way better now.
Kyle, you're in. We're up live. I'm opening Pull Tool, and there's some great stats on here. I've got
Do
my
you have
Pull
a-
Tool
do you
app.
have a li- Do you have a link to tweet?
Pull Tool app. I love it, Papa Carp. Thank you.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, you
Hey,
bet.
guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Pegasus is
Kyle.
pink.
Hey, Kyle.
Oh,
Hey, Kyle.
Hey.
Umed. Hey.
Hey, now.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going down there? Hey, so
all
we
good.
have 70,770 delegators. I'm looking at the Pull Tool app right now. 70,770 delegators, 0 pool saturated, 19 billion stake delegated, 61.63%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Average cost per epic is 346 ADA, 340 is the minimum,
Pretty
so
cool.
346. Number of active pools is 1,248. Desired is 150. And the total pledge on the network, this is off of the Pull Tool app on my iPhone. Total pledge is currently 318 million
And counting.
pledged.
how much?
318 million pledged
Okay.
total.
Okay, that's. I thought I didn't hear the 3 in the beginning. 300. I just heard 18 million, and I was like, okay, that's a little too.
318 million.
Okay, that's fair amount.
That's a lot. That's a
fair
lot.
amount. Yeah.
Nice. All at my fingertips. Okay.
Thanks for the plug.
Yep. Yeah. and there's-
Pega. He made that thing.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, Pega. That's Pega built, and then Pega
Yeah,
merged.
I like how you three guys joined forces, and started working on a common integrated product.
Yeah.
think-
Thanks, Mark.
It's gonna have lots of synergies, especially when I read your proposal and the financial indicators that Umed proposed to be there available.
Mm-hmm.
I'm little
I thought it was
uncertain
a smart play.
about the revenue stream model that you mentioned in the TCE, but that will nobody can predict if that will work or not. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the thing is that we want to build something for the community, right?
yeah,
And
and
we
you
want
want to build something that will be self-sustainable and won't rely on community funding all the time.
exactly.
So I'm trying to solve the same problem for my project.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
be self-funded in 5 years. That would be the goal. So
All right. Yeah. I really like the idea of the cloud. If that could work, and I like the fact that you are proposing a prototype, right, with the first iteration.
yeah, there is an MVP that basically would do the same thing that Google Drive does for you. Either that or a backup application that would back your data for the past 90 days, and you could restore from any point in time. It's both the same level of complexity. So it's just a matter of choice. Do we want to go into a new market that doesn't have that much competition, or do we want to compete with the Google head-on from the day one? That would be the only decision. And the server side, that's actually already pretty much complete by the project that we will be working from. So
Perfect. Well, we have 6 more minutes, I think, right?
So
Well, it's live now. 6 more minutes, and I have data lists up if you want me to use that. And there's a couple of questions in chat if you guys want to take them. We got a lot of folks here. There's 40 people with us right now. Thanks everyone for joining here in Digital Fortress. We have some chats. Molten Tar Monster asked, "Hi Rick, did Binance answer your question yet?" And the question was, "Are those really your pools?" And what's the answer, guys?
Yes.
Yes,
It's on.
those are real. Those are real.
just
Yeah.
look at the stake on them.
Yeah, that was like almost 3 billion, 2.6 billion ADA or something like that. 18 pools
Boom.
times 150 million. Poosh.
Yeah.
Massive, right? I
Yeah.
think it's good to have that on the network. I know people are concerned. They're like, oh, I don't know about Binance.
Well,
It was coming, guys. There's
you
still
know-
40% of ADA out there. There's still 40% on stake. We got to go find it. Where's it at?
with
Hey,
the
well,
way
we're
the
talking about that-
reward with the way the
ahead,
reward
Mark.
sharing works, I don't see a problem with that exchange going online and participating in consensus. I am much more worried about what's going to happen when we will be voting on those catalyst proposals and stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're going to have a heavy vote.
That's well, they should have no vote. There should
should,
be a
yeah.
mechanism. That's why there will be some sort of a locking mechanism and so on and so forth. But you may notice that Binance already came up with the idea of get supercharged rewards if you lock in your ADA for 3 months.
Yeah.
So
17%, right? 17%. That
Yeah.
one got me
But
a
it's
little.
limited.
compared to 6, right? You can get about 6.
Well, was
and-
not
So
so-
how
what
are
are
they
they doing?
able
They
to offer
just-
that?
What I think
That's what I
they're
was gonna
doing.
ask before.
I think what they're doing is they're assuming that people aren't going to take them up on their offer or even know that they can stake their Cardano. So people that are holding their Cardano on the exchange don't even know
They're
they
gonna
can
stake it
they
for
can do
'em.
anything with it. So they're just going to capture all those rewards that no one cares about, that hasn't signed up for staking, and distribute them to everybody else.
so on
Okay.
well on
I
Binance.
was thinking the rewards would be so good for the pool that they would just kind of fork it out of the rewards. Because if you look at, when a pool's running and making some money, I mean, that we can possibly pay that out, but I don't know if the math works on the back end. If they're eating it out of the pool op rewards, even though the pool's only taking 6%, that adds up
Well,
across the board. But there's got to be some sort of, like Mike said, somebody's not getting paid.
Someone's not
if
getting
it's
paid.
if it's a promo,
Yeah.
if it's some sort of a time limited promo, they don't really care where the money comes from, right?
It
If
could be a
it
cost.
increases the volume of trading
Yeah.
on Binance, they can make that money easily. So if it's just
Or
a
the-
temporary promo.
Yeah. Or they know that the price is gonna go up, so they can load up and pay you.
Yeah, but they can buy the rewards. Well, they can't because they are ADA denominated. So, yeah, but yeah, they could buy the rewards they are going to pay in the future at the current prices and then pay up. Yeah.
pay
At
them
the
later.
current price, that's like $260 million. I bet they have a lot of people working on what is the strategy we're going to do with it.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think this promo is permanent or temporary?
I
It's up
hope
to them,
and
right?
believe it's temporary.
It's
But
permanent
I
until
think-
enough people sign up for staking. Then it'll have to go down.
But I think it shows a vulnerability that they if it will have
Andrew,
a
I'm
high
digging
level of
balloons.
participation in the governance, that if it will have a large level of participation, that somebody could play the governance system this way. You will have some important vote going on, so you offer supercharged rewards for locking the ADA for a certain period of time, and then use that to vote your way.
Well, hopefully the voting is going to be a little bit more, take these things into consideration. I think Dor mentioned that they are working on voting beyond the Treasury, and I'm curious to see what kind of final mechanisms they will put in place in order to guard against these eventualities.
Well, there will be a time lock.
1 minute countdown is 1 minute
All
and
right.
30 seconds. Yeah,
Oh,
you can
boy,
keep
here we
going.
go.
I'm going to put that screen up.
Yeah, I was just going to say in regards to voting, whenever they have the mechanism where individuals can delegate votes to experts, if you will, I think that's going to be really important for the community to capitalize on that. So we can basically defeat anything that comes adversarially, whether it be from Binance, whether it be from even IOG or CF. I'm not saying that we have any feeling like that at this point, but we want to be in that position.
Consider this. How do you want to fight? We give you 5% extra if you delegate your voting power to Binance.
That's what I'm saying. It's an attack vector in a weird way. You could do it via social.
And we need to educate the area stakeholders around these topics and the possibilities, and
30 seconds.
non-conventional attack vectors.
So what was the theme of the party today? Did we settle on?
It's a D party.
I don't know, but Andrew's got the balloons, man. That's rocking.
So I think you should switch into the info screen, because that's where the D shows.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Okay, let's check who made it.
Let's go.
Let's check the winner, guys.
D equals 0.
Who made the first block?
Who makes the first block? I'm going to switch over to my...
Oh, we're doing that. Cool.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it on the...
Genesis. Okay. Maybe we should skip the Genesis and...
The first one is I think they always get the first one, don't they? Like the slot 0.
Oh, is that right? I don't know.
Which community pool gets the first block? There it is. Okay, Daedalus just switched to 52%.
Yay!
Currently, 52% of the blocks are being produced by the state pools.
Woo!
Yeah! Yeah, baby.
And we got another Genesis. That just sucks, guys.
Is that calm or no? No, we're in 228. So no, we don't know yet.
And there it is.
Are we caught up? Are we hung up?
Oh.
No, I saw it
waiting
switch over.
for the first community pool to make a block in this epoch.
What does the spool operator?
Oh, now we have Stack.
Who did it?
Stack. Do you know who is Stack?
Stack?
Yeah, STACK.
Yay, Stack. Good job.
Go Stack.
It took a lot of work to get there.
Okay, he has ITN verified ticker, so he participated in the ITN.
Okay, cool.
I think Stack and Stash were his pools.
10% pool fees reward, 10% rewards from pool 2 badge, and 10% blocks produced from pool 2 ITN.
Maybe he should get a T-shirt with like 48 in it, 48%.
So it's Daniel Epstein. I work in IT at the University of Queensland, and I love Cardano.org.
Awesome.
He is from Brisbane, Australia.
All right.
So Stack made the first community decentralized block. Nice.
Yeah.
Well done, Stack. All right.
Well done.
Someone, more
like this from now on, right?
Yeah. Someone in chat asked me about Sap Tamini asked, Rick, what about the Sybil attack? I wouldn't worry about it. The Sybil attack is so difficult to do. Mark could actually probably speak, and Umed, Mark and Umed are here. But right now, imagine this, K equals 500, for example, and Umed could explain it better. But if theoretically there were 500 saturated pools, for example, they would have to saturate 251 pools to do the Sybil attack. But it's even more, it's more difficult than that. Umed, Mark, what's your take on that, guys?
Well, so, it's, when you are talking about Sybil attacks, it's never a short-term game. You are always talking long range. Okay, so sorry for that. if someone would be to commit a Sybil attack on Cardano, they would make it their mission for year, maybe two. They would commit substantial operational expenditure and resources to, marketing campaign, maybe buying off some already established pool operators if they think their loyalty lies elsewhere, and so on. Even with the current 150, I think the K is, it would be difficult, but it's because the community doesn't make decisions only based on financial side. They obviously give much more preference to the visibility of the operators and their credibility, and the information you guys provide in the podcast and stuff.
Yep. So in the social construct, it would be extremely, like, ridiculously difficult, and in the financial construct, it would also be ridiculously difficult, and you would actually have to execute both of them to pull it off. So
yes, and
ridiculously difficult.
We need to take into consideration future restructuring of ADA holdings over time.
Suka Chig says, seems like some butt pull answers. Yeah, it's called Puma. Those are Puma answers. Pulled it out of my ass. It's just a ridiculously difficult number, isn't it? It's just, how do you even calculate it?
No, I mean, it's here's the thing. There is a shortcut that's used. You just multiply the current price by the half the supply or half the stake ADA, and that should give you an indication of how much it would cost to pull off an attack. But that's not
that's not a
the exact price, right? Because assume that somebody who is very powerful wants to undermine this network, right? All you have to do is go outside and buy it. That's the easiest way. But when you start buying, you move the price up. So by the time you're done buying all that 9.75 billion at current standing, the price probably could be like a $3 or $5.
Of course, because there is a market depth.
Yeah.
But the point of the Sybil attack is that it's not your stake that you use to corrupt the network. Is the delegated stake.
So now
you would have to purchase some proportion, and let's say so Rick pulled some numbers out of his ass. So we had 19.5 billion delegated total, and you had a number of what was the.
Well, I actually pulled that from Pool Tool.
Okay,
that one didn't come from.
I don't have the app, so I cannot see that. But how much was the pledge? The total pledge on the network?
318 million.
318.
318 million. Total pledge was total pledge, and total stake is
19.5 billion.
19.5 billion. And Mike just posted Ada Light got the top block producer last epic. Well done, Ada Light.
If you wanted to have the same pledge as every single other pool operator on the network right now, you would need 1.6% of the total delegated stake.
Okay. And what's that?
That's still a huge amount of money for any of us, but
yeah,
we sometimes talk about elections, and when you talk elections, you talk state-like actors, and those are exactly the kind of guys who would spend 4 years planning a sophisticated attack to sabotage an election 4 years down the line, right?
Yeah, that's never happened before.
So yeah. It certainly wasn't an American corporation used for making friends and sharing pictures of cute puppies that got exploited.
Yep. All right. So congratulations. This was the D party. You guys went total turbo nerd on that. You want to see if there's a few more questions in chat, or do you think you got the civil attack questions?
Go ahead. I think the civil attack was kind of solved.
Yeah. That was the key, though. It was we wanted to have fun, have a little quick and dirty get together, for having the D dropping from 0.5 to 0.48, and that now means that 52% of the community pools are making the blocks, right? And it's not the federated nodes making the blocks. So
And
big
we're in
giant.
charge. We are in charge.
We are in charge. We are in
So,
charge.
I
And
think the
The
guys,
next,
community.
and
the
didn't
next
the community?
statistic
Oh, sorry. Next statistic. Go, Mike. Let's go,
is
buddy.
so on the health page for Pool Tool, we show the community blocks versus the Genesis pool blocks.
Nice.
So in the first part of this epoch, we're only at 38% for the community blocks, but that's the next thing I want to get to, right? Is to see that over 50% in an
And
epoch, right?
Where's it at now? How close is it?
We're at 36% because the
Oh,
Genesis pools got lucky at the start of this epoch.
Yeah, we
Okay.
just
That's how it
got
works.
lucky. It's early. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's early.
I
Okay.
see people. I actually just checked the health page, and I see that people started introducing different versions of Cardano nodes, like their
Yeah,
own
what do you
builds with
see
their
there?
own patches.
Yeah.
Mike, do you want me to make you a co-host and you can screen share that, or you want me to put it up?
You can put it up. Yeah.
Okay. You want network health?
Yep.
Okay. I'm putting up network health. And let me give that one up here. Okay. There it is. I don't know if
There
you
it
guys can
is.
see that on yours.
Super
but
Frog, big tip.
Yeah, it's Super Frog big tip. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get my hands on that script.
Yeah. Only special people get the Super Frog big tip script.
oh, geez.
16%
I'm gonna have to rename mine.
apparently, right?
Yeah, 16% of all reporters.
Yeah. What
Kyle's a
do
busy
these
guy.
stats look like? You do give us a walkthrough. Network sync 99.4%. You see a little nug right there. That might be the turn of the epic little
Yep.
notch right there. But
Yeah.
People still struggle with that.
Remember
is
how
this?
bad it was on ITN? We'd get down to like 60%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was
it's
rough.
always really good these days.
What's this historical block line?
Yeah.
What's this little thing trickling off? I see a little guy
Oh.
running off here. What are those guys?
Come on. Well, okay. Yeah, it's a good idea to explain this again. So, right. So this shows you all the different nodes that are reporting. And so that's clearly one node that basically froze in time. And so they keep reporting the same block height. So it gets lower and lower relative to where everyone else is. So that's what you see when they fall off.
Yep. You went into this in detail in,
Somebody's not-
Slot
yeah.
Leader, didn't you? Was it on Slot Leader?
Mm,
Where'd you do
I don't-
detailed one?
I don't remember. I've done it a few times.
He's done it on podcast before.
I think I've done it with you too, Rick. I don't know.
We did a while back. I think it was on ITN though. I think
Peyton and I went through this.
yeah,
a
you
little
and
bit.
Pay went through it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And
got
then
to
over here,
to,
propagation
Mark's.
delays. What am I looking at over here?
Oh, so the prop delays, right? So we analyze when people send in their blocks, they also timestamp them based on what their node says is when they received them. And so what we're trying to do is get statistics for propagation delays across the network. And so that shows you basically that block made by the Genesis pool. The first pool started getting it at about 100 milliseconds, and the last pools that report to us got it at about 500 milliseconds. So that gives us some measure of how well connected Genesis, that pool, is to the rest of the network for distributing their blocks. Hey, look at that. There's my love block. Yeah.
There it is. There's love. Yay, baby.
Yay. So you can see I got my own
Oh,
block.
wait, you and Liba.
Yeah,
you
I got
can
my own
see all
block
my
right away.
pools there. I'm very close to where
Yeah.
Carp is.
Oh, look at
'cause
that.
Propagation between he and I is very fast.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right here in Portland, and that's made in the
Yeah.
Dalles, which is just down the street.
Yep.
Yep, pretty much
Do I
all of
remember
yours.
correctly that there were some pools that had like 1800 milliseconds delay?
Yeah. Well, so what we saw was, you see that Genesis right there, the Shelly Genesis pool. The lowest one is 160. We saw some of these Shelly Genesis pools, distribute their block like a second too late or longer.
Okay, which when the slot is 2 seconds is kind of.
It's the slot technically it's 1 second, right? So
Oh yeah, they changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what was happening. That's why our density went down before, was because the Genesis pools blocks should theoretically never ever get into a slot battle or a height battle. Never ever, right? They're precluded from that by the node itself, but yet they were, and so when they were doing that, they were losing because everyone would choose if community pool followed up a Genesis pool with the block, the community pool always won, basically.
Oh, okay. At least that.
Yeah.
At least the
Yeah.
community pools have higher priority.
Yeah.
In slot height.
But we were getting blamed for the chain density going down.
I remember Rick
It's
on
like,
Twitter.
no. We didn't do it.
You
You
pull
guys
up
did.
secure nodes. The chain density is going down. We will not decrease the D if it
Right.
won't go back up.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, it was like, I was like, no, please fix it. Whoever is responsible, fix it.
Right.
I'm constantly impressed by the level of technical capacity of people, and you guys are all included here. And whenever there is a challenge or some problem that needs to be solved, I mean, I remember early days, when there was some sort of a bug in the Haskell code, or not Haskell code. Was that a Haskell code? Yeah, in the node, and Onyx. I think David from Onyx just keep persisting, and he said, there's a problem, and he got
Yeah,
fixed.
they initially dismissed it because they confused it
Oh yeah,
with a different
I'm not gonna
issue.
lie. We could have a whole different story if David didn't handle that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
David
I
handled
think
some shit.
I think
Shout out
I
to
think
Onyx Bolt.
I think we would have our own version of a rollback.
But and Andrew, for instance, right? He's coming up with a way to actually for us to see the blocks that we make. It's amazing that nobody
Leader
is
logs.
orchestrating all that.
Yay, Andrew.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know quite a few operators who use that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it would
There's
be
a new
great,
script out there.
but it's not 100% accurate yet, is it?
Yeah, it is. If you
It
if
is.
you use the CNCLI version of it, which is built in
Okay.
Rust, it uses the
Okay.
exact same calculation as the Haskell
As
code
the
now.
Haskell code. Okay.
Yeah. So it's doing the
So
Taylor
we could
expansion
use
and all of that
could
stuff.
use the Rust implementation as a reference implementation to add it to the node natively.
I used, yeah, if you wanted to look at the Rust code to see how it's done, yeah. And then the Rust code was based on the Haskell code.
The Haskell code. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there may be one or two tiny digits of precision difference just because of
Okay.
the fixed
Yeah.
the fixed floating point libraries I'm using versus the one that's used in the Haskell code. But
I think they actually have their own float precision library, or IOG at least published a paper on handling floating points within Cardano.
yes, yeah, that's what I use to base mine off of. But the library I'm using didn't have. I don't think it had a natural log function, so I had to use a separate library for the natural log function. So
And that
it may
handles.
not be, yeah.
Okay.
But as far as the digits of precision that IOG is using, they're using, it's like a 64-bit floating point. The first 30 bits are in front of the decimal and the last 34 behind the decimal.
Yeah,
And so I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Can you
what happens
simplify
to
this for
us
me?
at,
Is it good or bad? Good.
It's good that we could be so accurate. Yes.
Okay. Nice. That's what I like. Thanks, Andrew.
what happens to us? I mean, I'm partnering with Dolcapool, right? And what happened to us is that you predicted, I think it was your software. I'm not sure it was your implementation, as I don't have access to the secrets required. But it reported us that we would produce one block, but we actually produced 2 blocks in that epoch. So that it was a nice error.
Yeah.
What if you
Yeah.
got
Early on,
zero?
there was a rounding bug
Oh, okay.
where it was incorrectly like determining what slots were the BFT nodes and which slots were us, but we got that corrected pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then
Usually the problem is the data that people are putting into it is wrong. So they use the wrong
yes.
D factor or the wrong nonce or
Yeah,
whatever.
and
So
that all
I-
goes away with
So,
CLI.
Yeah, exactly.
Ideally, we should write a script that will extract the required information from the node. Huh?
Andrew did that.
Yeah, so that's what the Rust code does. Is it connects to the node and it syncs a copy of the blockchain. So it is actually like its own little node, but it keeps track of the rolling nonce value. So it can calculate. Oh, go ahead.
Is it a contribution towards the Cardano and Rust effort that kind of Sebastian tried to start? Are you working with Emurgo on that, or it's totally separate?
No, I just built it. They're going to be integrating it. Ola is going to be integrating it into CN tools. So eventually it'll become Like right now, you have to do a ton of command line parameters to get your leader log out of it.
Okay.
But Ola is going to make it like dead simple. Like once we roll over the 1.5 days until the epoch, it'll just automatically give you your logs type of
Okay.
thing. It'll be really slick.
That's cool.
So there was a
Yeah,
question
shout out
related to that.
Ola.
Yeah, there was a question related to that from the Victor. Asks, what is IOG's position might be on having the leader logs reverse engineered? As I understand, we should not have access to that. Now, caveat, we can't speak for IOG, but do you have any inside knowledge about that? What's their take on it?
Yeah. So we talked to Duncan about this early on. I mean, we were, I was requesting it week after week on the friends and family chats and stuff.
Yeah, and there was a
they
ticket
never
on
had a
GitHub
problem with
created.
Andrew,
It
sorry.
was
Yeah, they never had a problem with us knowing that information. They just didn't want to spend the time to do it themselves. And the way they had architected the node, it was very much kind of on the fly. Every second it would check to see if you're the leader. And what we'd want to do with a leader log, is a huge performance bottleneck where we want to do 5 days worth of calculations all at once. So they really didn't want to put that code in the node. That's a performance bottleneck. So Duncan was very happy when he had learned that the community had already figured it out and pulled it outside of the node, and we're doing it on our own.
Yeah, and now it's only about figuring out how to make it make the Rust component work better with the Haskell node.
Right.
Maybe connect to the Unix socket, and request the data, or sync with the. How are you syncing the Rust node with the chain? Are you using the networking protocols that Cardano
Yes.
uses, or you just?
Yes.
So you actually implemented the network max library in Rust.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I've implemented the handshake protocol. I've implemented the transaction protocol, just enough of it to turn off the transaction submission protocol because I don't use it, but
Yeah.
the node talks to me and I have to say, oh no, I've got nothing for you. And then I implemented chain sync, which synchronizes all the block headers.
Nice.
So those are the three I've implemented.
So to answer the question though, IOG appreciates the work you did because it took the load off of them. Plus,
Yes.
it also provided a huge relief to pool operators. Yes. A huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pool operators are very happy to
Yes.
see that.
Yes.
And
Right.
it also made me very happy because I was about to reverse engineer the network max library, and the Rust implementation. I actually have a Rust developer who can do it in like a week, while doing it in the Haskell. It has like 20 different dependencies. So it did a great deal for me as well, because I want to see where the protocol design went differently from German Gander implementation of the
Compared to the Haskell.
chain.
Yeah. Now, the benefit of not including it in the original Haskell code is that you're not using all those computes, because how much horsepower would it take if every single node was doing those computes at the beginning of the epoch? We might run into a bottleneck, right?
You probably we already have problems at the beginning of the epoch.
Yeah.
Some do. So we would probably have to do it at a later date. While with this code, you can just run it even on separate machine, right?
Yeah, you can. And so
it can be totally separate. It just communicates over the socket. So, you could even point it at IOG's nodes. It doesn't even have to be your own.
okay. And so before we wrap up in a little while, I don't know how much longer you guys can go for. If I'm happy to stay online. There's 83 people here now, also with us in the chat. 83 viewers online, and
Yeah.
Mike, where are we at on the percent?
We could just
Mike,
bullshit.
Yeah, just bullshit. That's perfectly fine with me. And this on Digital Fortress, you can say whatever you want. Okay, so Mike, where are we at with the percent? How are we doing on the community nodes? Hold on, you're muted still. Bring us up.
Yeah, I'm mute. Okay, I'm back now. We're at 51%.
We're at 51%.
51.56.
Yes, that's what we were looking for. Well done, guys.
Yay!
Great job, stake pool operators. Y'all are the real MVPs out there. Y'all the real MVPs. 51%. We did it, guys.
Woo!
I have
Nice
a
work.
theory now that D is D is below 0.5, and I know some of you guys disagree with that, but I have a theory that now that opens us up legally to list on certain exchanges where we weren't listed before.
When
So,
Coinbase?
technically,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, pretty
I mean,
much.
legally, I mean, you can. It's like it forces someone legally to use your kitchen for some purpose. I mean,
Yeah, I get
think
it, but if you look
it
at the
was
CF
it was
Foundation, it's not technically driven; it's legally driven. There's not that's
yeah,
how
but
it's been for a while. So that may have been
Cardano
behind that
Foundation
strategy.
can request.
Every other coin and its mother that is on Ethereum has already been listed,
Okay.
Yeah, but
and that's just because
I think the
Ethereum is
statement.
decentralized.
I think Charles actually, when there was the Cardano summit, he had an interview in the TCE booth with Philippe, and he actually mentioned the date when it will be listed, and it won't be this year. It will be quarter one of the next year. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the D or whatever. It's simply the integration works, the level of security they want. The staking, they will want to provide a staking experience for their customers as well, especially for the custodial ones. They also, since Cardano is a proof of stake plus governance coin, they need to figure out the process on how to let their users, and now I mean custody users, not you own $200 worth of ADA on Binance. I mean, you have 10 million, 20 million, and you want to vote as part of a project catalyst, right? So they need to sort out that workflow as well. And they used to have a single standard operating procedure for all the coins that have been listed on how they safeguard the offline wallets. I think they will need to make adaptations for Cardano if they want to enable the custody users to have access to these services. So I think it's bottlenecked from that sense and not really dependent on D anymore.
Mark, how do you remember all this stuff, man?
I read a lot.
Yeah, you do.
So, Kyle, what was your take on the Coinbase thing?
Hunting. I don't know. I think that I've just been observing who they've been listing over the years and why. I have a decent amount of experience in getting into legal trouble on that realm. And it so, I mean, that's just my theory. I think the timing of them raising K, yeah, we raised a lot of hell to get there. Not particularly with K, just with a lot of things we're unhappy with, and that kind of came as a consequence of some of that push. But I don't think they would have made that move if they didn't know something that we don't. If they didn't know something.
I mean, there was a community complaining about the K being too low for ever since the staking started. So it doesn't come as a surprise that the K is increasing.
Of course not. No, not at all. But we've been asking for guidance on K and A naught since February.
But the alignment fits, right? The first increase is in December, and the second increase is in quarter one of 2021.
So it should correlate to the price of ADA.
Don't get me wrong; it might not be the first one.
I think first of all, I think there is so many fiat onboard exchanges now that there is no such thing as a significant Coinbase effect anymore. I mean, yeah, it may bump the price by 10% maybe, but that happened today, didn't it? I don't know what was the change in price today, but I know there was a substantial move, and I don't think the Coinbase effect. I think it will improve liquidity and it will enable greater market depth and so on. But I don't think that we get listed and the price goes 10x or something like that. I think those times are times of the past, and now you can trade fiat or even on Binance with your credit card. So
Yes, and that plus on Coinbase with the custody, and staking. That would be a huge plus. It doesn't mean ADA is going to move, but
for
it is going to add
institutional,
more stake to the network probably.
and it's
you
gonna
might see a gain.
it's gonna add institutional players
Yeah.
into the game who may be not looking at it as a financial investment, but as a platform to build some of their products on, and they may want to secure a certain amount of stake to have a certain amount of control over the platform that they are using.
Yep.
Hey,
What's up?
Hey,
I heard we
Peyton.
were going for number one, man.
Going for number one, bro.
It's all happening.
All day, every day, going for number one. Pay had a question in chat. I dropped him the link. I forgot. I thought I put the link in a couple different channels. I guess I didn't hit them all. And he had a question, Pay, about Kate.
Well, I was curious to Mike specifically about slot battles. How many percentages of blocks that you're assigned on average are actually slot battles, or is that kind of like a variable number?
No,
We don't know.
What we found is that whoever has larger stake is more susceptible to lose. Lower stake pools have a preference to that. So your pools have a disadvantage against my pools. I'll probably win every time if we went head to head.
I mean,
Hey man, that might be a good thing, especially if it's a couple million stake, man. I wouldn't want to steal a block from someone with 2 million stake,
Yeah, you wouldn't.
That's
wanna
exactly
take
I don't
the
see
block
this
for me.
completely bad.
So how it works is, like, if you have a big pool, let's say you're both going to roll a D100 die. As a big pool, you've got to roll a 20 or less. If you roll a 20 or less, you get a block. Kyle, on the other hand, he has to roll a 3 or less to get a block. So if you happen to have a roll where you both roll under your thing, it's more likely that Kyle's roll is going to be lower than yours. And so in that case, the lower roll always wins the block. So while it's possible you could still win in a slot battle against Kyle, he's more likely to win if you guys do go head to head.
Okay. And, I'm glad you figured that out, because I had a real hard time wrapping my head around that and say, why is it a pool with higher stake is more likely to lose a slot battle pool with smaller stake? And it's the dice roll?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was you and Papa that ironed that out, wasn't it? If I recall.
Yeah, so I was looking at the low-level protocol stuff and how they compare to see who wins. And there's a leader VRF value that's part of the block header, and whoever has the lower one wins. But then in order to make a block in a slot, you have to have, that leader VRF value has to go below your threshold, and your threshold depends on your amount of stake. So the less stake you have, the lower your bar is to get under. It's like playing limbo. You've got a limbo under a lower bar to get that block. And if you did it, you're likely going to be lower than the guy who had to go under a bigger bar.
Yeah.
Wow. It's some interesting dynamics that have evolved here on the Cardano network, according to specs too.
Mm-hmm.
And Peyton, to answer your question, I haven't done the analysis yet. I seem to remember that Lars said at one point that he expects 5% of the blocks to end up in battles or something like that, or 2.5%. But I haven't done the analysis.
It should be roughly a half of the overlapping slots, right? And the overlapping slots are 10%, right? I think it's said in the Genesis. So if
10 or
it would
5%. 5%.
So if it would be 5%, it would,
Slots.
So if say it's
Slot
5%,
coefficient is 5%. Yes.
are you given 2.5% extra blocks then? Or
it's a small
really
pool.
be
No, no, that
Yeah.
would be that would be the top bound.
So
And
the
it also
average,
Small pools don't always go against big pools.
yeah, that's one thing. And
Right.
second thing, it also depends how big the bigger is and how smaller the smaller is. I mean, if you compare 12 million versus 10 million, the difference is going to be negligible. When you compare 150 million versus 2 million, the difference is going to be significant.
Yeah, most slot battles that Pay gets into is going to be against Binance and IOG and other large pools.
Yeah.
Same
So,
size as Peyton.
better
right
for
now,
us,
you know?
oh, it's big.
Right.
better for the community.
Okay, I got to
guys
go
are
too,
leaving me to
guys.
Binance.
I need to drop as well. I've got another
Okay.
meeting.
See you
Bye,
guys.
Mike.
Take care.
Right on.
Okay, have a good
Bye,
one.
Andrew.
See ya.
Okay, so should we celebrate one more and call it off, or do we have some questions in the chat?
Okay, I'll check chat. Any questions? And Mark, you're going to look up what is our current percentage of community blocks.
It's not good. We dropped below 50%.
Oh, we were
now
at 51%.
40, 49, 48, 40, 48, 89 right now.
And is it because the Shelly Genesis nodes happen to get lucky? Does it look like that?
It's like,
Yeah.
so at the beginning of the epoch, it's going to fluctuate a lot.
There's not enough data.
Yeah, they got 61% right now. It's just luck. Yeah.
Where are you guys viewing this data at in the analysis?
Network health. It's in the network health.
And Pool Tool.
Okay, cool.
You see
I'll put it in
community
chat,
blocks.
okay?
Yeah, I'm here actually. I was already on Pool Tool. I appreciate it though.
Okay.
Community blocks 44. Total blocks 91. Genesis blocks 47. Yeah, it's a really nice presentation. I really like it.
Chain
Oh yeah,
density.
because the Genesis pool chain density is at 5.11. That's probably why.
Oh, it's going up. So community chain density is at 4.5.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's just more data.
Somebody can be messing up.
Is Moonstake still goofing off? Have they fixed their shit yet?
No, they're at 700 milliseconds right now. I was just looking at that.
I don't know where he hosts his servers, but he's from Czech Republic. But I don't know him personally, nor online. We never like messaged or anything. But I know he's Czech, so.
Well, no, I mean, but is he knocking blocks again, or it was his KES expired? Because
he has a high latency of couple hundreds milliseconds. So I don't know what causes that. But.
Distance.
So is the first name, is that the person who got the block that sits around 10 milliseconds and then everyone else kind of surrounds them? How does the propagation times work?
That would have been better for Papa Carp to answer, but it's.
Well,
I think so.
Since it's not always zero, I would assume that you get zero when your leader is connected to same relay as you are connected to. But that's just an assumption based on the fact that I've seen one block with now flower 70 milliseconds.
And
that's what I would assume too.
The time the node signed the block, the time the node signed the block is in the block
and
count.
send it to
and
the
the
relay,
time it
right?
was arrived at Papa Carp's node, and it measures the difference, right? I think that's how he does it. So if you're the slot leader, chances are yours is going to come to as close to zero as possible. Okay, so the first one in the list is going to be, they're not actually in the list. Like STI just made a block, and then Flower is the next closest one at 70 milliseconds. And so the difference between that's why it's better for Mike to explain it. When it received the STI block and when it saw the Flower block, and it does a time difference thing and figures it out. Okay.
When I think about it, I think when we are the nodes that are at 500 or below, that's quite good. What's above, those are like the outliers that would need some improvements. And it's not always the same pools that get these numbers, right? It's different pools, different time. But I think with the current settings of the protocol, we should aim for 500 being the gold standard, not above that.
Okay, and it looks like most of them are. They're kind of like there's a mass, there's a big spike below 500, and then there's a couple outliers, slightly above 560, right? So yeah. That'll make the network run really fast. How's this going to work on Hydra? Are we going to need a faster network? Is it fast enough? We don't know. We'll figure it out. Right?
It has a separate network, right? Hydra has a different network.
Right.
Hydra is like Lightning, but the
so
ledger,
it'll be a side chain.
Well, Lightning is not a side chain. Lightning is a overlay protocol. The difference between Bitcoin Lightning and the Hydra Cardano is that the extended UTXO model has been designed for Hydra, while Lightning has been an afterthought for Bitcoin's UTXO model, and they had to add some type of signatures and so on and so forth. And as you know, it's not always easy to make changes in Bitcoin, given the community structure and the decision-making processes that they do not have in place.
So the key advantage with Hydra, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, I could send a transaction directly to you, and then once the balance is settled, it'll get sent over to the blockchain. That increases speed. Is that correct? That's kind of how Lightning works.
That's
it's complicated.
That's how it works. You said it correctly, but I would disagree that it's the biggest advantage. The biggest advantage is I can do the same with a smart contract.
Okay.
That's the bloody advantage.
So the smart contracts can do it thousands of times per second.
Yeah, and
once they settle, then they report back to the blockchain. Here's the result, real quick. Yeah. And at that point, the transaction speed goes through the roof.
You could have two enterprises transacting every day, and then at the end of the month they settle on chain. You know,
here's a question for
like
you.
A coffee shop and the coffee supplier, right? You order a new coffee like every 3 days, maybe.
How about this? How about a casino? How about in a casino where people are running money across the tables through electronic stuff at very high speed, and it can be settled, on the table or on the slot machine, and then report back to the blockchain? Is that possible?
It could work. I did a lot of work in gaming, when I was in semiconductors, and there's so many regulations that
you need to have like secure random number generators and stuff like that.
All kinds of. There's going to be a huge delay getting the industry approval, I would think. At least in Vegas. I know
you know how you get past that? You make it a fake video game, or like a real video game, but not like gaming. You get past all the regulations, but you can still do the probability stuff and without dealing with all of them.
And then when it's time to deploy it on the real thing, poof, it's a shorter leap, probably.
Or you just incorporate in some Panama, and you don't really care what.
Yeah, some Banana Republic Island. Yeah.
Yeah, like New Orleans. No, just kidding.
It becomes problematic when you've got money involved. I think you can do. There's some leeway. You've got the fantasy football type stuff and things like that. So I'm not sure.
For every restriction there is a workaround, and for every workaround there is a tighter restriction, and it's always a battleground, and one fighting the other. But to be honest, I don't see the use case for the casino. I think in the casino, you check in and check out usually the same day or within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So you could do it. You could do that totally off chain, even without any Hydra, because it's the casino is trusted. If you don't trust the casino, you don't play there, right?
Right.
Because you already know they have an edge. House always have an edge. They even increase their edge, and you still go there and play. Okay, well, maybe you're drinking too much then.
Yeah. The main advantage is between financial institutions with smart contracts in place, they can settle off chain and then report back to it whenever the transaction is complete.
For any kind of institution that does often long-running transactions, that eventually for financial reporting needs to be settled, right?
Yeah.
So like you do monthly statements in accounting. That's why I said you would settle on chain at the end of the month, because that's when your accountant wants to see the account balances.
Huh.
So you settle at the end of the month, every month. At the end of the year, you have your financial statements done, right?
And that would save you transaction fees.
That would save you transaction fees. That would be lower on Hydra. It would leave more space for more useful stuff on chain, and everybody wins.
So where do you go to learn more about Hydra?
There is a paper called Isomorphic State Channel.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I've started to read some of them, man, and
the
most I've taken math wise is Calc 2, and it's far beyond Calculus 2 when you're reading those papers.
There is a
Yeah.
little easier on the eye version on the IOHK blog. And I also believe that there was a video, there was a presentation on Hydra on Cardano Summit, so that should be on the IOG YouTube.
Yeah, it's on IOHK. I'm going to drop it in the chat. I'll drop the link in chat. It's on the IOHK research tab,
But
and there's a Hydra fast isomorphic state channels over there, and there's 90 papers, 90 research papers, and it looks like 86 of them have been peer reviewed. I'd have to look closer. There, the link's over in chat, and yeah. So Hydra isomorphic state channels is over there, and I just dropped it. I dropped the link for the overall thing in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey, Martin, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
you
Where's
doing, buddy?
Martin?
He just came by in the chat.
Hey, buddy.
Martin from is it at Ada?
OCG's here too. Hey, guys.
Hey, OCG Martin. There you go. There you are.
Martin should join us online.
Should I drop where can I drop the link?
But when it comes to Hydra, I don't think there is much to read. It basically works the same way that Lightning does. So and Lightning, if you get it multi-sig and so on and so forth, it's really easy to understand. What the problem was to extend it to the extended UTXO model and thus enable smart contracts on top of Hydra. That was the hard work, the hard part, and that's the math that even I don't understand. So I just believe the formulas are correct, and
yeah.
If not, it's gonna screw over someone sooner than me.
So I got a question for you guys. What's your favorite up and coming proposal on Project Catalyst? Who are you voting yes for?
Yeah, I was just going to talk. We should talk about Catalyst in general. Hey,
I agree.
Thought I heard it was delayed a little bit. Yeah.
It has been delayed a
no?
little bit. So the voting was actually supposed to take place on the 21st, but I think we're waiting on a couple things. We're waiting on the iOS release. We're waiting on Daedalus and Yoroi to have support for it, and also we need CLI support to be able to vote with the pledge wallets for operators. So there's a few things we're waiting on. If I had to guess when we're going to have it, I would probably say a few weeks from now at the latest. It was supposed to start on the 21st, so we are 2 weeks away. So I do see it coming in the next few weeks. We just actually left the assessment period. There was an assess period where people could actually rate proposals based on three things. Following that, there was the assessor period where people really went through and kind of looked at all the people that left assessments. Like, for example, because I have a big audience and what comes from that is haters, right? So a lot of people left kind of assessments without really constructive comments on that. So those were taken off, so that period just ended. So we actually just got our ratings. So now that we have our ratings, I got those. It's really onto the voter now,
Wait, where were the ratings? I saw all the comments. Did the ratings come through, or are they with the comments?
The ratings came through today. The comments, as you saw, came through a little bit earlier this week, I think, or earlier last week.
It was for me, it was both yesterday, but the comment about the rating came about half a day earlier before the actual numbers. So my proposal has 1.13 overall score.
1.13 out of 5.
Yep.
They're harsh, man.
3.13.
Oh, 3.13. Let me see what I got. What do I see, Pay?
You just click. The way I do it is because you usually get kudos every day. I click notifications and then click the podcast from the kudos menu on the top right. That's usually how I get to mine.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't bother with kudos anymore.
Yeah, well, my favorite proposal retracted their proposal, and that was the Cardano effect. So everybody that gave Rich shit, screw you guys.
It wasn't. We were giving people room to breathe. We had to step back. Room to breathe.
Yeah, and that's because I gave you a little bit of shit, Rick, but I said I'm still going to vote yes either way. But there's just not much room to breathe for any of us right now.
There's a lot of proposals. People showed up to the game.
I think your criticism was constructive to a degree, Pay. I mean, I think that, I think, Rick, honestly, I think you guys could go in every 6 weeks and get money and just update your proposal. That's it. Just change a couple lines. And I think that's the way it should be. If you guys need to cash flow up front, that's a whole other story,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but obviously, I think that's something that I could get behind 1,000%, and people screaming and yelling. I get there's not a lot of whole money to go around this first fund, but I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of bullshit in there too. If you guys go through it, there's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
and once you filter through, there's some good stuff, but underneath, there's just it's like, what the fuck are y'all thinking?
So some of it has a lot of fluff up front, but no track record behind it.
Yeah, I see.
There's some upfront fluff, and you read it, and then you go, okay, what's actually being delivered? For example, Mark's proposal is really good. Here's the deliverables. Boom. This is what I'm going to deliver, right? Another one is the Shopify proposal. He gives this is my high, this is my low, meet me in the middle. Here's what it's going to cost, right? And so there's some really good things to be learned from that. Now, Pace, question one's, which were your favorites? And I do have to say, between the Liquid and the Shopify and in the D-Cloud were in there as some of my top that I recall. Ones I picked. How'd it go with the voting though? You got a 3.14 on yours, Pay. What'd you get, Kyle?
I got
Mark got a 3.14.
Okay.
Yeah, I got like a 3.35, 3.49, something like that.
Liquid got like 4 point something.
Mm-hmm.
Liquid is really well scored. But they also have been working on their project for way longer. I basically take this as a pre-seed and sort of a temperature measurement of the community if they are behind such an idea, and then based on that, I will either invest my own funds into the mix and add it as a catalyst and accelerate the timeline and so on and so forth. If I see a negative feedback in this time, instead of making a proposal in Fund 3, I will go onto the community assessor category and will be rather assessing and advising other proposers.
Yeah. You know what I calculated? What you could do per fund is, at the current rate, the Treasury makes money and you burn 90% of all ADA per funding round. You could do about 6.5 million ADA per funding round and still put aside 10% of the ADA to continue.
We already have 90 million total too.
Yeah, so there's 90 million in there in 3 months. So
the 5-year contract for IOG won't be free either.
Yeah, I think that's why we started off low. They're saving some cash for themselves.
No. We need to start low with practice. I mean, the 250K this time is very good, but I would really like to see Fund 3 to be at least 10 times more, so it can both support the project that get funded in Fund 2 and need additional capital because they deliver their minimal viable product, but now it's time for them to innovate, like Liquid, right? They will already have a basic money market, but there are so many ideas and areas to explore and invent new things and so on.
How far
so they will have to ask for additional money.
I guess my issue, I've looked at Liquid a little bit. I mean, how far are these guys
from being able to deliver it?
Just period in the whole process. I mean, is it a business plan phase?
Yeah,
they already have some sort of a demo code for lots of pieces.
Yeah, they were able to run the simulations in the
they are
playground.
Working directly with the company that directly contributed to the Plutus code base in Haskell.
Mm-hmm.
So are they writing in Plutus?
They're working with the Tway. So they were
the Marlow stuff's not going to matter. They're going to have to take it to Plutus.
Mm-hmm. So is that what it's in though? Is it in Marlow or is it in Plutus originally?
They did a demo at the hackathon in Marlow. But it's got to go to Plutus, so it really equates to just kind of maybe
that's the thing.
Actually,
what Plutus and Marlow enable is that it enables you to use foreign function interfaces. So what I understood from a conversation with DC was that they actually now, after some extension of Marlow and so on and so forth, plan to use Marlow with some extension in Plutus, but the majority of the code base could be in Marlow after some improvements that has been committed for Marlow.
Okay.
That's
Hey,
my
Gene Pesker,
That's
understanding.
really interesting.
how many votes does each ADA holder get? Does it depend on the bag size?
Depends on the bag size,
Yes.
and I think it's not linear. So if I have 10,000 and you have 20,000, your vote is going to be more heavier than mine. Not twice, but let's say 2.1 by a
This is
factor
what
of
they call
2.1.
quadratic voting.
Yeah, it's quadratic
Wait,
voting. Yeah.
So what do you mean?
So wait, explain that. Does the lower bag have more per
No,
ADA
less.
weight than the higher bag?
No, less. The smaller bag has less
And it's
voting
an
power.
it's an exponential rate? Like how?
No, it's I don't know the exact function.
So what you're saying? Okay. Wait. Let's get real. So let's say I've got, each of us have ADA that equates IOG's ADA. Let's say the four of us. Okay, we've got a quarter of their stake. Vote comes up. The four of us vote one way. IOG votes the other way. A cumulative stake is equal. Who wins that vote?
Well, the IOG would win, but
Even with this,
it's not how the
that doesn't make any sense.
It's not how the voting will work, because there is a thing. So quadratic voting is never implemented in a yes and no, one question voting. It's always when there are multiple proposals, which you need to categorize somehow, and you need to make an ordered list. So what will happen is that there will be an ordered list of most preferred and least preferred proposals, and each of them will have a budget. So you assign to it, and you start adding those proposals.
All I'm trying to get a point is if you got an equivalent amount of stake, that's not as powerful if it's broken up between n number of parties versus consolidated into one party. Is that an accurate statement?
That is accurate. That I believe that is an accurate statement, and it's
that needs to be on our radar as a community.
It
should be, because you already have an advantage with more
community.
ADA, with more votes. So why should you have more advantage?
There is it's actually part of a Project Catalyst that the voting scheme will be changing, if not with every fund, with every 2-3 funds, to actually explore which voting scheme brings most return on investment, let's say.
I see.
Yeah, and there's one distinction that I want to make too, is that you need 8,000 ADA in a wallet to vote with that wallet.
Really?
Yeah.
So what about pull blocks? Are we just kind of screwed because we're hanging in pledge?
No. Samuel Leathers, and I think this is actually what we're waiting on. Samuel Leathers is going to do a demo so you know how they do the town halls every week, where Door comes on. Sam's actually going to come on to the next one or the one after that, and kind of give a CLI demo. Yeah, he was sick. He was going to do a CLI demo to show pool operators how to actually vote with their pledge.
But does the 8,000 apply even to delegates, normal delegates?
Yes. 8,000 men for everybody.
So I will either have to give my parents an early Christmas presents, or they won't be able to use the ADA they already have.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my mom was like. My mom was like, "I'm going to vote for you," and I was like, "You can't. You're limited."
I mean, they all got, like, my sister, my niece, and so on. They all got like equivalent of like $100, which is like what the grown-ups give one another for Christmas if you don't want to bother with the gift, and it's below the 8,000 threshold. Yeah.
And Mark has some funny exchanges with his mom, so don't get into.
Oh
that.
Yeah, I was today. I was like,
he said,
it grew by like 30% over the past few days, and she was like, "How do I turn it into cash?" And I was like, "Well, first of all, you don't want to turn it into cash." And second of all, I explained to her that there are actually the Bitcoin ATMs, and that they are working on the ADA, on adding ADA to those as well. I showed her that she already has Yoroi wallet installed in her browser, and she can check check that she got the reward from the pool, and we got talking about that a little bit. It was a little better conversation topic than the other one that we have going on in my family, as my sister is going through a breakup with her boyfriend, with whom she has a daughter. So, it's better to talk about blockchain then.
Yeah, we'll stick
Gene
to blockchain.
Gene said, so if I have 800K, do I get 100 votes or just one heavy vote? So from my understanding, you're going to take your phone, you're going to download the Catalyst app, whether you're on iOS or Google Play, and there's going to be a QR code either in your Daedalus or your Roy wallet. There's going to be a different Daedalus download that you have to download. It's going to have a different symbol. It's going to be like Daedalus Catalyst or something. When you get on there, you're going to recover your wallet like you normally would. After you do that, a QR code is going to pop up for each of your wallets. And you're going to have to scan that QR code with your phone, with the camera on your phone. And then that'll give you these voting tokens. And my assumption, and from what I've gathered thus far, is the amount of ADA that you have in the wallet will be the amount of votes that you get in the app. It's not 1 per 8,000. If you have 8,000 ADA, you're going to get 8,000 tokens in for the vote on Catalyst.
Okay. So if he has 800,000 ADA, he'll get how many tokens?
800,000.
800,000.
You just need the 8,000 to get in there, at least from what I understand.
Okay.
I have just
and all this stuff is an experiment too, and it's subject to change too. So Dor says that all the time. For example, there wasn't going to be a lockup of the ADA, but they've actually decided that there is going to be a lockup because that just won't work. But the first round wasn't supposed to be a lockup, and now it is. So all of this is subject to change.
I think the ability to, I think they always wanted to have a lockup, but they initially thought that they won't be able to deliver that on time. And because of some delays with the Apple Store and stuff, they actually, managed to get it into the sprint. But I would just like to add one thing. I was listening to the town hall yesterday or day before yesterday as well, and one thing that Dor made clear is that he cannot confirm that Yoroi will be supported. So if you have hardware wallet, it could be a problem. If you are using seed, it doesn't matter because Yoroi seeds and Daedalus seeds right now are just the same.
They start with the same ADDR. Or
Yeah.
however
the words. You can use the same words and enter them into Yoroi and Daedalus right now. It wasn't always the case. They were using different mnemonic schemes, but now they are using exactly the same.
Yeah.
15 words.
In the original FAQ from Catalyst, they actually said only Daedalus would be able to be used currently, but you would just recover your Roy wallet over there, Yeah. But yeah, I think like you said, Mark, they were waiting kind of for this iOS update, so maybe they thought they could fit Yoroi in there too, but yeah, it's not for sure.
I'm glad they went to the same 24 word seed standard apparently for everything now, because the whole 15, 12, and then 27, all those different random numbers, it had people thrown off, right? It had them thrown off. It really did. Going from ITN to mainnet and all that stuff.
I think mobile was still on 15 too, which is confusing to me. I actually set up a wallet for somebody. When I introduced someone to Cardano, I just sent them not 1,000 ADA, just 100 ADA and say, this is what it is. And they wrote down their words. I'm like, there's only 15 there. They're like, yeah, that's what Yoroi is. So I thought that was really interesting that Yoroi mobile kind of stays with the lower word scheme.
Was it on iOS?
I want to say it was on Android.
Yeah, because they have the option for 24 words on Yoroi Mobile now.
Really? So
yeah, I need to go convert mine over and just get everything on the same current standard.
They couldn't get the iOS version out with support for Shelly for quite some time. So
hey, there's another question in chat. If we change 8,000 ADA vote token, this 8,000 ADA, its price goes up. I don't know exactly what the question is, but no financial advice on Digital Fortress ever. We never have, never will. No financial advice, but price go up. Who knows? It's
more value for your token. It just depends on if the market's going to react to that.
No, I would just, instead of focusing on what the vote will do with the price of ADA, I think I would more focus on what the individual proposals could do for the price of ADA and for the ecosystem as a whole. Focus on proposals, not on the really short term gain.
Well, kind of a follow-up question to the 800,000 tokens, voting tokens. does that mean your ADA is not locked and you can vote with it and still move it? Or is it locked while you have the voting tokens? Does anyone know how that works?
So the original specification was it's not going to be locked for Fund 2 because this is the experiment and they didn't think they were going to have the capabilities to do it. But from what Dora's been saying recently during the town halls, for Fund 2, the ADA will be locked up after you get those tokens. It will be during the voting period. And that's so I can't just trade the ADA, move into a different wallet, and then vote again, right? Because then you could just fund whatever you wanted and kind of extract money in whatever way without the lockup mechanism, you know?
So do you know how long the voting period will last?
It's been switching between 7 and 14 days. I think they're sticking with 7 because they want to get Fund 3 already going.
Yeah,
There has been a delay.
Yeah, it's a 6-week cycle, so every phase is supposed to be pretty quick once it gets rolling.
So it should only be for the last week, just during the voting period alone. It's locked up for maybe 7 days, right? Yeah, that's good. Cardano is very liquid. It's very liquid, so it's good to have that and something to think about. You're going to lock the creator for
it stays staked too, which is important.
It stays staked.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant. Cardano is built correctly.
What are the requirements for a vote passing? I mean, do we have to have some sort of quorum like we did in ITN? Can we explain? Does there need to be some level of participation? I guess.
As I said, there will be an ordered list.
Right, but
yes, you will vote yes or no.
Yeah, it's going to be. Okay, I think it is the number plus 15%. So you got to take the number of yays, number of nays. So if you have 100, I'm going to have to use the number 100 for this. If you had 100 yays and nays, the yays would have to exceed 115 for it to pass. You can't win like 100 yays. 101 versus 100 cannot win.
Right.
It's got a 15% threshold.
I understand. Yeah. Cool. There's got to be a disparity between the yays and nays. Right. I get that. Does there have to be a participation on total stake?
Ooh.
No.
Remember how we voted for ITN?
There wasn't.
And we didn't hit anything.
There doesn't. There won't be. And Dor actually assumes rather low participation in the fund.
Good.
Too.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking
the matter of like maybe 3,000 participants or something like that voting.
I'm still pretty sad about that. The ITN not living on.
It's fun to do. It's just starting. Not everybody will feel comfortable downloading extra version of Daedalus and so on and so forth. You know, it's like the Jor vote, right?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be writing Pay ADA right into Bloom, you know, like the kind of a weak difference, but very sad about that.
The threshold was extremely high. What was it? 66% had to vote or something like that. It was really high threshold.
It was
I don't remember.
I think it was like 30, I think. It
really?
was low.
66% had to vote in favor of some percent.
Yeah, well,
no, just 30.
I think the quorum was 30%.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was on command line, so nobody could do it.
And there was a Jor vote, and that was a GUI app, but it didn't work with paper wallets from Yoroi, for example. So I had 2 wallets on the ITN, and I could vote only with the smaller one. Of course, even if I would be voting with the larger one, it wouldn't change the end result. But there could be like 100 people like me, which could change the end result in the end, right?
It'd be interesting if we got Andrew to work on Jor vote and get that plugged into the Haskell node.
Well,
vote with your pledge via the command line, or it generates a QR code so you can scan it into your app.
Well, you know, the D Cloud is planning to utilize the same sort of a governance model. So you know, it's going to if we get voted in, you're gonna have multiple votes. If you also will be a D Cloud governance token stakeholder, which you will get for either contribution or participating in the network, and we are planning.
Plans, Mark? Yeah. So say you get some research funding, you go off and do your research. You can come back, present kind of what you found in the path, and
so
go for that second round of funding.
So I don't have the budget right in front of me, so nobody take me by the word. But it's,
No,
it's
yeah,
the
sure,
budget.
sure.
The budget is divided in 4 different categories. So there is marketing, that means corporate identity, website, and so on. Then another is minimal viable product, which means basically we take Storj, which is a file storage, distributed decentralized file storage on Ethereum, and port it to Cardano, which will enable stake pool operators who have physical hardware to operate also storage nodes. And for that they will earn the governance tokens, and the money that will be
So
earned.
real quick, why only people that have hardware?
Well, because it's not economically viable on
the cloud.
I mean, I'm trying to replace AVS. It won't be economically viable to host it on AVS and expect profit there.
So
I mean,
an
as an
operator would
expert-
need to bring up like
That
a
makes sense.
36 terabyte RAID or something like that.
if you are willing to lose money, you can run it on the cloud. But if you want to actually make profit, you need to use your own infrastructure. The minimum will be 500 gigs. The maximum is unlimited. I just today I spin up a testnet today. I spin up one node with 14 terabyte drives, 24 of them.
A big
Well,
giant
we're,
giant stack of freaking RAID. Was
yeah,
a RAID
we're all
14
willing to lose money around here for tokens. So
Well, it's like if you want to, I mean, in the beginning you could say like, okay, for 3 months I will be losing money, but get the experience, and then I decide if I will make
yeah, to
the
move the
capital
hardware.
investment into the hardware, right?
Mhm.
So the hardware I am buying, it's like 4,000 euros per node. So I have 3 developers plus myself, so I need to buy that 4 times. That's already almost more than I'm asking for in the proposal for the money, because I'm self-funding big part of this project myself, right?
Yep. And if
I'm
so, if
basically
some
asking just for the time. I'm paying for the material. I'm asking the Catalyst project to pay for the time of different people, which I provide material and my own time for free, but I need to pay some other people like graphic designer, a researcher, and so on. And with those I always want to reach a deal that they will keep at least the portion of it in ADA to keep them interested in the project overall, and compensate them for their work.
and if I wanted to run one of those nodes, I could set me up like a 36 terabyte RAID, download your software, and then I'll start earning tokens for providing the data. Right.
And those tokens will represent your vote on the overall decentralized autonomous organization that has actual ADA or stablecoin in it. So
Okay.
if you would own 50% of those governance tokens, you could decide, well, I pay all those money to myself, and then we will of course implement mechanisms against something like this, but basically it will work basically like a share in a stock company very similarly.
So what's the minimum spec requirement for the hard drives? So are you really going to start off with hard drives, or are you going to start off with SSDs? Is kind of that's
with
what
hard
we're all
drives, because
towards.
we are building a system that works over the internet, and over the internet you already have a high latency.
Yeah.
So you don't need the low latency of SSD. But unlike our competitors, we do have plans with SSDs and NVMEs for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean nowadays I don't even want to put any data on a hard drive. It's so slow relative to the SSD, and then the SSDs are so slow relative to the NVMEs.
That's a local system bottleneck. If you look at a local system, the bottleneck is always storage. That's what SSDs do. So what Mark's saying is that your bollneck now is
the internet. Yeah.
The network. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, you are complaining about hard drives being too slow. We actually I actually got one of the guy. He was like on the Storj Reddit. He was like it's so bad that the you don't support tape libraries. And I was like, well, actually, I'm working on this project, and we plan to incorporate tape libraries as well, because there is a real use case for tapes in the long run for data archival, right? It's like no, that there is no big corporation that kicked out the tapes. They just shifted, the use case is much more narrow, but the tapes are still there. So we even have something like that, but that would be further down the line, let's say 4 years. We want to focus on those high revenue, relatively needed services first, and do the alternative to actually AVS Glacier does that way down the line later.
Mark has a plan.
Oh,
Mark,
I've been
do you
thinking
need
about this
funding
for
to
a
get to
very,
MVP?
very long time.
So use hard drives because you can RAID them, and they take read write. You can read write a lot more. You can just bang on them all day, and they'll read write all day, and they don't wear down as quick as SSD, and they're cheaper now. So
Yeah, they are
interesting
super
project,
cheap.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope it gets funded and we get to bring the vision to fruition.
Cool. All right.
I actually registered the project as a call for paper today at the conference organized by Red Hat early next year. So that would also bring a lot of awareness about Cardano into a lot of open source developers.
Like your open SUSE?
But
how do you pronounce it? SUSE or SUSE?
Well, actually, it's SUSE, but because
SUSE.
it's German. But then they got bought by Americans, so it's SUSE.
Okay.
But it used to be SUSE.
SUSE.
Yeah, and that brings the awareness there too. And I think attracting conventional developers into the area of blockchain, and them starting to think where blockchain could benefit their regular application. I think that's the way to go for mass adoption, not as a monetary system, but as a certificate authority, DNS and this sort of things, because you need distribution support for that. I mean, if you have like these crypto domains, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if your DNS resolver on your computer doesn't know how to resolve them, they are basically useless, right?
Yeah, like bob.eth, bob.eth. Could we have one that says bob.ada, ADA?
Well, we could. For the wallet, it would be easy. For Brave browser also, but if you would want this support to be generic, it needs to be in the DNS server that is part of your operating system. And
someone just tried to sell me one of those. They reached out to me and they said, "You're smart. You should buy this. It's bigpay.crypto."
Oh, it's like buy a piece of land on the moon, right?
Yeah. It's like you're a smart guy. You'll make the right choice.
Somebody will make an NFT for that, Mark.
For you, Mark.
Well, we as part of our DAO, I actually plan to have NFTs and fungible tokens. And as you have in a normal corporation, you have your CEO, CFO, product manager, project manager, developer, and so on. These non-fungible tokens would be assigned to these different developers, and based on that, they would be getting salary. They would be able to make expenses requests. I really want to rebuild the corporation on the blockchain and see if it is possible. I think it would be exciting journey for next 10 years maybe.
That's brilliant,
man.
Cool
experiment.
It is.
Well, it is an experiment.
What do you need to get to min viable? I mean, can you get to min viable without funding? Do you have a path?
I could, but I won't. I see this vote as a community support, and maybe I would reapply in fund 4, 5, or who knows. But at this point, for me to actually start working on this, I already work on this on a theoretical basis. We write 2 papers. One is about the DAO. The second one is technical specification. So those are being worked on. But for me to pay the developers I want to see this, that the community actually thinks it's a good idea to start building that.
Well, you know, conveying that message is critical
It is.
on exactly what you just described. Because if you just write it out on paper, let's say it takes you 20 paragraphs, people are going to have trouble wrapping their head around what is the impact. Now, you wrote pretty good papers. You got a good proposal written on there, and I can read through it and understand it. But you're going to have to convey that message, you know, video, voice, all different media.
I'm trying. I'm just starting to make well, I wouldn't call it strategy, but I'm starting with with marketing. So today I did the first like a YouTube video on my channel where I talked about the background and where this idea came from. I have also pre-recorded interview which I need to cut with one of the developers. So I have like, it's like 45-minute footage and I need to cut it to like 25 to 30 minutes. So I have like half of that done. After that, I can upload it and, you know,
You can put the link in your Catalyst proposal.
Yeah, I can put it there. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Nice.
Cool.
All right, guys, you ready to wrap up?
I'm going to try to.
Sure.
Yeah, we can wrap up.
Okay. No,
All
what
right.
you got, Kyle? Anything else before we go here? There's people coming and going. There's
Nothing. Yeah, I was just going to say I've got a, you know, kind of a similar strategy. I threw a proposal out, which, you know, I got to build a component anyways. I pretty much already got it kind of wrapped up. But, you know, if it makes sense, once I do this component on my end, that puts me in a position from a security perspective where I can open up the embedded code base. And then from there, I can start to kind of create that. But I have a path to potentially help pool operators monetize as well. So that's kind of cool too, because if I'm building transactions building transactions server side, signing them on the IoT devices and then sending them back to the server to submit, I could use my servers or I could use your nodes. And so I can work something out there. So there's an incentive where basically, you know, pool operators could be pinging a server and ultimately the blockchain right down the road, getting the data they need and then signing that transaction, and the device can come and then pull that signed transaction back, or the device can submit the signed transaction to the node, and the node can submit it on behalf. So all it would be doing is the node would just be running a command, if that makes sense.
Yep. Kind of an odd question. Would that be a case for Oracle pools because that thing is a data reporter, or is it not necessary?
Well, it would be
It could be, yeah.
the other way around.
It could be a lot of different things. There's two ways. So what's going on is, you know, I've got this whole ecosystem of peer-to-peer monetization. Let's put that aside. That's Gogan. Right now, I've got an IoT device. It measures, let's say, the soil and the temperature, signs that data, sends it to the server. The server knows that data is signed. That's just a data signing play. What we could do is what you were talking about, consolidate that data, submit it to the chain, but that data doesn't necessarily have to live on the chain. Into the Oracle play, I can incentivize, or before rules, I can incentivize users to submit that data and then sell that to like a DMP or data marketplace. So that's where the pools could potentially facilitate that as well. So there's an opportunity with pools submitting transactions on behalf of the devices. That's kind of the Gogan where devices are buying profiles and things like that. But if, you know, some big corporation wants to get the temperature in Memphis, Tennessee for the past 3 weeks from a certain number, they can make those purchases separately, and those oracles can provide that data. They can then go and pull those from the chain or whatnot, or wherever they may be stored if they're not in the chain, because that wouldn't be the case in an oracle. I don't think it makes sense to store every data packet to the chain. That's not really, you know, that's not really cost effective from a transaction perspective.
Well,
So
I don't believe
there could be a lot of opportunities, but I was going to incentivize that with tokens. What are you thinking?
I don't believe in the fact that everything should be stored on chain permanently, even though you already know that you're gonna need it only for next 2 weeks, which is why I came up with the dcloud idea, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some synergy there. If you think about it, there really could be.
It certainly is,
So-
because, you know, do you know Prometheus, the time series database?
You mean like the Prometheus Grafana combo kit?
Yeah. Every pool operator knows that, right?
Mhm.
So I already have an idea
That was a trick fucking question, man.
how to spin up that as a side chain. in an environment where, let's say, people and you are in Virginia, right?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Yeah. So where
Kyle's nearby, but I'm not saying where he's at.
where you in Virginia and maybe someone from DC would be close enough to run a Prometheus type of database for third parties like Kyle, who could then store 1 minute resolution temperature or humidity data in there, and keep them there only for 2 weeks, and then make an aggregation to an hourly data, and so on and so forth. But that would be Fund 4 or even beyond.
Yeah, that's down the road. Yeah.
I mean, the area is very complex, and there are certainly lots of interesting challenges to be solved, and I believe they can all be solved. But it will require time, just like Cardano required it.
Yeah, time is you can't get around it. It's always something you got to deal with. We're doing great. Speaking of time, guys, you ready to wrap up? I think it's that point. We've been going quite a long time. This was a great D party. We got to do this again. When's the next time we should do it again? Like at D equals zeros or some other magic point? We're going to jump over on
I think D equals 0. Yeah. I think D equals 0 for sure. That's definitely a more.
I'm down.
All right. Hey, Mark,
Okay,
where's
guys,
your data at? The Storage Guy? That's the name of your YouTube channel?
Yeah, that's the name of the YouTube channel.
All right, the Storage Guy. That's where you have more data. Of course, you got Pay with the Cardano Aura and the Big Pay channel. And then Kyle, are you bringing up a channel?
Yes, I do see our channel already.
You got the channel up. That's right.
Yeah, I got an Doja YouTube. I haven't started putting Cardano stuff there, but my next roll of content, you're going to see a lot of Easter eggs as that comes together because I can't hide the interface. So, yeah, I've got an Doja YouTube channel.
Cool. Okay, so Doja and Cardano's coming to that soon. All right, cool. All right, guys, we're going to punch out. It was great having you here. Thank you, everyone, for the big D party we had. And, one last check. All right, is anyone looking at pools? Well, I'll check it.
I am just.
Where are we at? What's the percentage?
Let me refresh just to be sure. Oh, no, we are in the red.
Oh.
44.95.
So we hit 51% right afterwards.
Chain density is 4.46. I think it's one of
That's
the
pretty
pools
low.
not making blocks. I think it must be one pool not making blocks. The federated nodes make 5.04.
Okay.
I think somebody's pool is, screwed.
So the Genesis chain density is at 5.03%. The community chain density is at 4.45%.
Yeah, and they both should be ideally 5, right?
Yeah. Right now, they both should be 5 ideally, correct?
Yep.
And the community percentage should be at 52%. I wonder what's causing this. We're going to have to get Mike to take a look at this.
I think it's someone's pool not being up,
A big one.
Is Moonstake back in order? I mean, they were having problems, right?
I don't know. I mean,
it's crazy to me that they would have problems.
Well, I mean, currently you have no way of detecting that you have a problem, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna go out on a limb. There are some big pools like the one you mentioned has currently 0 blocks with over 100 million stake across several pools. I don't know.
I don't think there's
that happens sometimes though, because I mean, like Bloom, for example, has 0 blocks, and I've seen a time where I look at the leader schedule and there's a 5-hour difference in between blocks with this much stake, so.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you get 3 inside of 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like 846, 847. Yeah,
so I don't want to call out any single pool because we don't know. I don't want to put contempt prior to investigation. So we'll have Mike take a look at it and see if he can figure out why the community pool percentage is lower. There's a reason for it. Can't tell. It's too early in the epic. Unfortunately, you got to collect some more data before you know. Unless you can check like relays offline, you got to do a lot of digging because it's decentralized, right? There's no central point to say, where's the heartbeat? Where's the heartbeat?
We need to build the tools that will automate this sort of monitoring and getting data from the chain and from other resources, and pool tool needs to add some APIs so we can then pull that into some sort of an adaptive monitoring system and so on and so forth. We certainly have a lot of community work ahead while IOG will have you guys checked the Cardano real-time view?
Yes, I did just yesterday, and I need help with that because I'm not. My other stuff is working, but I'm experimenting with it on the alternate servers before we put them on the primary servers, right?
Sure.
So it's neat. It's all Haskell, front end, back end. You look at it through a web browser. It was pretty easy to set up. The setup guides are not complete yet. You got to kind of.
Have you used the version 001 or have you used the master?
I used the latest release tag.
Okay, just drop the release tag. Use the latest master. It's like totally different product.
Okay.
There's that much work went into it in past 2 weeks.
So yeah, now that I think through it, it's 1.0.0, I believe, is the number that I have. So use the latest master and run it again. Okay, gotcha. Did you compile it? Oh, you have to. Yeah, so you got to compile it. I used the binary.
And it's actually the first package. It's actually the first package for SUSE that we got to build on all platforms, including IBM Z series, which is like a machine that costs $1 million and more.
Nice. All right, I will look at that. Thank you, Mark. I always learn something new from you. So I will try compiling the latest master instead of using the binary. The binary was 1.2.0. And the RT view is pretty cool because it was able to, I just pulled up a web browser on what we call the master workstation that looks out to the servers. And I was able to see the node monitoring data in a web browser on one workstation, on one, anywhere, really, as long as you can.
Yeah, and you can set up a proxy server and have it on your mobile or whatever.
Yeah, so it does look pretty cool. I just need to get a few things. About half of the features worked and the other half of the features didn't work. So I'll try the latest master. That's awesome.
Okay, sounds good.
Guys.
Okay, guys, have a good one. Cheers.
Right on.
Cheers.
Thanks for jumping in.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure.